Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Monday workshop series. So as always, every Monday we invite special guests, speakers, and especially Baba's children who have been in this path of Gyan and Yoga for decades together. And without today we have with us Brother Balwant. Balwant Bhai has been a right hand for the Janki in all the service that has been happening in London and from London all over the world. But then Brother Balwant is one of the incognito jewel. He's one of the main the support and help who helped have build Anubhuti construction. Balwant Bhai is one of the main instrument who is the reason for me to come into Gyan. And Balwant Bhai is very incognito and he has a lot of weapons in his hand, yuktis and a lot of things that we can learn, especially on this Brahmin journey, where we have to navigate through a lot of trips that Maya can play around, either with the health, with in the relationships, but he has overcome a lot of crises, not only health crisis, but on the other side, the other thing I resonate with Brother Balwant is he is a sportsman. He has done so many London marathons. He's a cyclist. He has done from London to Brighton, and then he has he's a very cool brother to hang out with. I really had a great time spending time with Balwant Bhai when I first came into Gyan, and that is one of the reasons inspired me to follow through Baba's journey. He teaches, he creates Brahmins not just by teaching, but also by inspiring others with his own dharna. And especially one of the dharna which I really appreciate is when he eats, he was so much in silence, so much with Baba, and then he eats totally in silence with Baba. And that's one of the powerful tool which I picked up. But without any further ado, I invite Balwant Bhai. We also have Sister Hema with us. So Hema Ben, would you like to?
Om Shanti. Balwant Bhai, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. We know that it's in the middle of the night for you because I was in England, so it's like 2 o'clock or 2:30.
2:30.
But amazing to see how committed you are to service. And this morning I also had mentioned in a Hindi class, I had said that you were the first person that I saw when I went to Baba's house 42 years ago. I still have that very clear memory. You were painting when we went to the center. You were painting the underneath the staircase. I remember that very well. And I know that you're one of the oldest, but the gold Kumar of London, all-rounder. There are so many properties that your instrument for to take care of, which is a lot in London. And when we got Anubhuti, you came and you did amazing service. You came a couple of times actually. And I know that Anubhuti is in your heart. And if Baba tells you to go this minute, you will come to Anubhuti. So special welcome and love to hear from you. Okay, thank you, Bhai. Om Shanti.
Thank you, all of you. And here I say good morning. And I think being in the Brahman family is so important because our Brahman family only exists at the confluence age. No, we will be together in other part of the cycle, but the most important for all of us is how to be elevated, how to do something in my fortune, how to look after yourself spiritually and physically at this confluence age, As Hema Ben mentioned, when the center begins or when the service begins, we are all always there to take our steps and take the steps that helps others and take the steps of our important part that I am playing. No? So important, one of the thing is that always health. So there are two types. In one is the spiritual health and the physical health. No, both has to be managed in a way that I become what I want to become in my aim and objective. No, we all have a lot of things to do in this world. No, whether logic wise or whether service or whatever the aim you have set for, it's good that we are able to manage with this knowledge, for example. No? So today's topic being overcoming the seriousness of health. No? From my experience, no? Being a Brahmin for many years, and I have seen a lot of things. No? Especially with your own health, but also health of others who are the instruments in Baba's service, for example. No? When I became a Brahmin, I have spent a lot of time with Daddy Janki, for example. No? I have played many roles with her, being Shasha mentioned right hand, or understanding what your part is and so many things, but you learn a lot. That's an important thing. No? So with her, I used to go take her or to the other patients of BK in hospital or at home or other places. No? So one thing I noticed, especially in Daddy Janki, no, for example, she will take her time out to visit. Take her time out to visit. And it's important that one aspect she always have created when she visit people through the drishti, through the good wishes, and through the faith. She's always given that whatever that soul needs. No? And when you're ill, for example, no? Illness can be in many forms, but how to remain stable and also happiness inside. No? So when Daddy used to visit this, the soul might be different inside, but soon as her steps are there, soon as they used to see her, the happiness used to sparkle on the face. No? Even I have seen many times, no? Daddy Janki used to be there for them. And if she can speak and connect with them, she will do that. She will do that. No? But the immense thing was that the person who is in that state of health, that important aspect she used to notice. And that happiness and intoxication, you could see that sparkle on their face, which doctors used to come and ask, for example, who is this person? No? And this was very important thing. Doctors are doctors. They have the medicine. They have the knowledge. But how to put both together, they know how to put medicine. No? But the spiritual knowledge, they lack in that way. But when the health comes, it is what they are responsible. No? And spiritual side, obviously, the knowledge in yoga is with me, for example. I'd like to say something. When I've been with Baba, as Hema Ben mentioned, many responsibilities, but I never questioned any responsibility. Always did things wherever I could. And I always used to say, Haji to Dadi. Haji means yes, for example. No? Always used to say that. But I don't know the outcome. Even if Daddy asked me something, I said, yes, Daddy, that's all, nothing else. But I don't know what Daddy would say to me afterward. How would I overcome, or what is the responsibility that I was asked? I would not ask any of this question. And the funny thing is, or the logic thing about this is that once I said yes, things used to happen. Something else even came up in between, but there used to be something or some person or circumstances was resolved. And this is where I always said about the faith. No? When you say something, there is faith. No? In a faith in which, in different form, but it brings that victory, or it comes you let you overcome the circumstance or the obstacles in front of you. Even when I came for Anubhuti, for example, Daddy called me and she asked me, can you go and help in Anubhuti? And I had so many responsibility, but I said yes. Yes, that was the thing. So these are the pictures. So what I feel, that I've been in service for many years, but one thing happened that I like to share the experience. I was there before Daddy left the body in Madhuban. And then before that, obviously, I had some other incident in which I used to do service, but I didn't know something happened to me, for example. So I live in Global Corporation House, and there is a caretaker area which I've been staying there for over 31 years. And how Daddy called me and told me, now you come and stay here, which I have done. So one day, I think it's about 6 or 7 years ago, I was just going have a shower in my bathroom, and something happened to me. I fell. I fell, and I was not aware of that I fell. I was unconscious. And when I have read in the past, for example, when you're unconscious, then there isn't much you can do. But in this case, I was unconscious. What happened to me, I'm not aware, but I went down by the stairs to reception, because I live on the 5th floor. I went down the stairs and there. So everyone else who just finished meditation 4:45 saw me, and that I was bleeding from my head and other thing, but I had no consciousness that time, nothing at all. I didn't know where I was or what was happening. It's only that one of the sisters saw this, and then she called the ambulance, and Sister Jayanti was here. Many things were here. And then that when the ambulance came, obviously they took me to hospital, and this thing happened. But at that point, I still don't know anything. I had no connection in that way, for example. And one of the things was that the doctor had asked Sister Jayanti to say yes or no, what they're going to do. Now that is something important in health, to be operated or to do something which had to be consent from the family, Lokik family, or whoever I've been with, for example. So Lokik family was not there. Lokik family was not able, they're not able to contact and many things. So they had to do this. So Sister Jayanti said yes, and then the doctor began to work what he had to do. So operation was happening, and then I was in coma for 6-7 days, 6-7 days in coma. So I didn't know anything. And then Sister Harsha, who looks after Daddy Janki, she was the Brahmani. And so Daddy came specially for me from India, and little Harsha came, and they came from the plane, went to Global House, had a shower, and came straight to hospital. At that moment, I was still in coma, and Daddy stood next to me for 45 minutes next to me, and gave me drishti. And with that drishti, the doctor who was looking after me saw Daddy Janki. And at that time, I've been in coma for over a week, and now my eyes little open with Daddy's drishti for 45 minutes. And doctor saw this. When he saw this, he came immediately to ask Sister Harsha, who is this lady? And then Harsha said, described whose Daddy Janki is this. And then the doctor said, I'd like to meet her. And so Harsha told me all this story, what was happening afterwards, after I came out of the coma. And so my experience, my little eyes open. So my experience was, I see something, but don't know what it is. Little, no? And after Daddy came next day also, and she gave me drishti again, and the experience was there. And then she came again 3 days, continuous she came. No? It's only after that I begin to realize who was in front of me. I recognized Daddy, for example, being with someone for 40 years, you recognize every form, no? Whether it is the thoughts, words, action, or smile, or intoxication, or the sweetness they possess for you, everything was there, no? But other people were there also, but I didn't used to recognize them. No? So important aspect was this. I don't know what my health was. I don't know who I was, or I didn't know what was happening, for example. No? Because you mentioned about seriousness in health. No? Sometimes the health, I have the knowledge of health, but I'm not able to overcome many things, no? Unless doctor is there or right medicine is there, look into it. No? But for me, this was the important thing which I realized afterwards. No? So many other souls used to come and meet, but I didn't, it took time to recognize them. No? Important thing, recognize them. So what do you do at those in those times? No? I just used to sit and look at each one and whoever they are, whoever they were, but I needed to be happy inside. And at that time, I didn't know where I was. It's only later I found out that I'm in hospital, for example. No? I'm in hospital. And because of the different treatment through medicine, through for the body and many different things, I just accepted what was coming. No? So doctor used to be very baffled by this. No? How come this person was in coma and how come now? Because it was not meant to be like that, but that's how it happened. The presence of Dadi Janki, through in which she gave drishti, through Baba gave through drishti through Dadi Janki. But the important thing that I came back, I was coming back to what I have been, for example. But the main thing was the memory. Memory wasn't there. How I'm there, that I didn't know. And many things around me didn't know. With so many activities in before that, with so many things, this was the important aspect, for example. So many things gives you signal before, and in this way. So Baba has said many times, have the faith, and how the faith plays that part. And just recognizing that it especially came for me, and this was something I never thought of, being with someone, being the right hand, how that important part is played at that moment. And we all have different experience within our family, with everyone. And here, my experience beginning to pick up, and it took a bit of time to recognize myself and recognize where I was and what had happened. I still don't have a memory what happened, but I've been related by other members of the family, Brahman family, in which I was told or everything, for example. And then the important thing is obviously help from Baba, one thing, help from Daddy, another thing, and help from Brahman family. And these three aspects plays that important part. We are not requiring anything at that moment, but the important thing is how you managing and how you recovering. Because our thoughts at the same time recovering plays different part. For example, so I remembered when myself and Gentiben, when Daddy had a problem in the heart, and the doctor, we took Daddy to the special hospital in which they had to do ballooning, for example. No? And then after the operation, they were bringing out, and myself and Gentleman were still outside the operating theater. No? And soon as Daddy came out, she recognized both of us. No? And first thing she asked was, "What are you doing here?" And I knew that I didn't expect she would say that, but then she looked at both of us and Daddy said, "Attachment." You know, Daddy said, "Attachment." And we said, "Daddy, attachment? No, we are here just to see you." But you see the difference between saying hello, and the words when they see something on your face, that is what it is. No? And we said, "Daddy, attachment." And we said, "Yes, yes, yes, Daddy, we need to be here with you," for example. No? And then afterward, they took her to the ward, for example. Now, for example, we were okay, but it's Daddy who had gone through something, but her aim was very clear. Whoever's in front, the drishti was there, the smile was there, and everything what they have is there, practically seen at that time. But this is where I was coming from, like when something you're going through, your thoughts plays an important part. And when you experience the happiness from them, it means they're also happy inside. The two things, the happiness and intoxication works through the thoughts, words, and action. And our spiritual intoxication is the main aspect in which at present time, at the confluence age, we don't have any barrier in this. There are many barriers and obstacles come, but not with this spiritual intoxication and happiness through all these three factors will be there. And also my stage, for example, we all make effort to be stable. We all make effort to be constantly available at the time of need, and also how to have good wishes and help others. Very important aspect in my Brahman life. So being with Daddy, I have a lot of experience in all different cases. But my other experience that I was when Daddy left the body in Madhuban, before that, Daddy was in Ahmedabad in hospital, and I was going to other place that time. I was away for 2 weeks from Madhuban, so 1 week in Hyderabad and another week in Calcutta. So before I was going there, I took a leave from Daddy in Ahmedabad, and she said, "Yes, go," and that. And I told Daddy I'll be back by 2 weeks. And this was always a case that you want to take leave and then go, for example. Daddy seemed okay at that time, and we talked with Daddy all the things that we normally do. For example, when you go and see Daddy in the hospital. So when I came back after 2 weeks, I had a flight next day, for example. So I thought I'll go to Ahmedabad in hospital, take leave from Daddy, then I will get the flight back to London the next day. So when I found out that Daddy had already left for Madhuban, and this was her thought inside, that she was in Ahmedabad for a month, and now she decided that she has to go back to Madhuban, basically, even whatever the condition of the health, but thoughts were the important thing, thoughts. So other doctors have said, and Harsha was the main one also with her, and they all said, let her go. So Harsha and them. So I said to myself, Dad is not here, and how my flight is next day to London. So I had to decide whether go back to Madhuban and just say, take leave from Daddy And then he said, no? So I sat in Baba's room. I went in Baba's room and I sat there. And then I decided, no, I'll go back to Madhuban, take the leave. And this is what happened. No? That was my love, for example, or my thought, no? Because I always thought about it in any event, anything that's happening, your thoughts plays an important part. No? I remember also, which Hemaben mentioned, Anubhuti, when we were doing, there were many things happening or going to happen. We had to make effort. We had to make decision with Chandruben and other people. But that's an important aspect, no, that time. And this is where you should be able to realize this important aspect. No? So when I realized this, no, I will go to Madhuban and take leave. Now, obviously, Dadi from Ahmedabad went straight to Global Hospital, and that's where she was put in the special unit for there, for example. No? So the doctor realized that she needs to be taken care in that way. So when I went there, we couldn't go and see her, no? Because then the COVID started. No? And so I was staying in Madhuban, but Daddy was in hospital. In order to go and see her, they blocked this. No? They won't let anyone to go to hospital to see. And that's when whole of India was in the what you call COVID restriction, that you can't leave your compound where you are staying outside. And so we couldn't leave to go in Jati. But we found one thing, myself and other brother Kumar, who was the driver of Daddy Janki, that he had a car pass, which he can go from one place to another. So in the evening, myself and Kumar used to go there to see Daddy, but it was not possible. We could see her every evening, for example. So, and also Daddy's Brahmani Hansa, I used to tell her, whenever there's time, can I see Daddy? And she said, okay, wait, and I'll call you. So sometimes we used to wait for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. But the important aspect was the faith inside. No, I'll be able to see it, Daddy and talk. So day before, I was there after coming back to Madhuban. Daddy's been in, I think, hospital for 4 days. And then obviously health was up and down. And so the day before Daddy left, there were 6 of us together seeing Daddy. Myself, Jentiben, Hansa, her nurse, Brahmani, and one other. And we thought we could entertain Daddy. Entertain Daddy means what we see, happiness, intoxication. I mean, when you're with someone for all these years, there are ways you know how to do or what to do. So what the important thing was done at that time was that we had a projector, small projector, and we put it on the floor, and the slide you could see it on the ceiling, because Daddy was mostly like this, So we saw her the slides, we started letting her see the slide, and in that slide was like Daddy Gulza holding her hand, walking together, and being with Baba, all sorts of things. But her health was different in a way that you could see her the smile for 2 minutes, then changes and things like this. So at that time, we spent about 20-25 minutes with her. 20-25 minutes with her. This was unusual for us, because unusual in the sense the time was there to see her practically, for example. And you know how it is when we even go to see our lokik, the parents or brother or sister or uncle in hospital, how we see them and what we do, for example. So this was something unusual in a way, something that had come up, and we took the chance. So on that day in the evening, then we saw Daddy also, and then I went back to Panda Bhavan and stayed where I was. And myself and other brother, where we went together, So it was 9 o'clock at night, sitting outside our room on the balcony, and we were talking about it, no? Of Daddy and other thing. So suddenly the weather changed in that time, in March, which doesn't change. So the wind began to came, wind, and then the rain also started to come suddenly, and many things were, but both of us thought this is unusual. How come this is happening now at this time? So we were still talking. So till 10 o'clock, we still talk. And then we said, okay, he went his room. I went to my room, but he was in a different building. I was in a different building, now, for example. Then we went to bed, both of us. Then he comes back to my room, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah? And he knocks on the door. And I said, who is this? And he said, Kumar, that's his name. And he said, I have heard the news. I said, what news? He said, Daddy, I had a phone call from the nurse or Harsha from the hospital that Daddy has left the body. 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said, no, not possible, because we spent time with her the day before. So no, then we went immediately there to the hospital. We were the first one that time there. And obviously seeing Daddy lying on the bed, and obviously everything was there. Harsha was tears coming out of her. All of us were in silence in that time. Very important thing, head of the organization, leaving the body at this time was something internally. It was like a big question, what would happen, all these things, big thing will happen. No? And it's true. Baba's work will happen, will take care, other people will take care of the next thing and what happens. So since 2 o'clock in the morning, we were there at 2:15. And then what would happen? So we spent another hour there in that room. Then other people started coming, the doctors and Gentiben and many people started coming. But then I was thinking, what is it that what decision I had made that I happened to be there at that time. And because of COVID, everything was restriction. Restriction, big restriction. People couldn't come to a hospital. Where would the funeral take place? Where and how could be managed in the same day? So it was a big thing, but Papa worked differently with everyone, not just with me, but with everyone who were meant to be there to carry out the task. Cremation. Where would it happen? How will it happen? We had to get a letter from government. We had to okay it from the government, because that was the restriction time Modi had put forward. That very strict it was. No one could go out of the compound. And the police were there outside. Everything was looked after managed by police in that time. So big thing was there, big thing. And being there was the important thing. And obviously everything was cancelled. No flights going in and out, nothing. So you can imagine, for example, Dadi Jankis was head of the organization. She had this duty after Daddy Kumarka left the body, and Baba gave her duty. And she managed very well with everything. And now everything was cancelled. So what are your thoughts at that time? I'm sharing my thoughts, my experience in that time. First was obviously the cremation, in which how to carry out the cremation, where and how. So there was a long process with this, but important process at that time. And Modi had obviously in India, they had cancelled all the flights coming in and out, for example. So there was not possibility to go back to London at that time. But so what happened was, there are so many details, but I'm just telling you in essence. So obviously the cremation was decided in Shantivan, where that was decided. And then we had to go down for cremation, but only 50 or 60 people were allowed. Can you imagine? Only 50 or 60 allowed. And even those who were in Shantivan that time, those who came for Baba's meeting but couldn't go back to their own place because of restriction of COVID, and so they were there, but they could not come and attend the cremation, no, for example. But we, from our place, we had 2 cars were allowed with the registration number and people's name to attend the cremation. So total people were 50 to 60 people. And they also gave time by 1 o'clock the cremation should finish. No? There were already people in Shantivan, 2 to 3,000, for example, yeah, but none of them could come out of their building, for example, no? Where it was done. Then this was all managed. So obviously Daddy Janki's body was taken to Panda Bhavan and Gyan Sarovar, and then went down to Shantivan, and that's where the cremation took place, no? For example. But first time I've seen in my life, cremation takes place same day and took in a short time. I always thought, yes, in India, they like to do cremation the next day, no? For example, or minimum 2 days, just to wait for other people to come. But in this case, it happened the same day, same day. Even in UK, I have attended a lot of funerals and a lot of things. It could take a week, it could take a different procedure altogether with death certificate and doctor's signature, everything. But in India, no. This was something special in the drama, in this particular part. No? So obviously, cremation was finished lunchtime. Then we had the gathering of offering bhog for Daddy, and the bhog was offered. And the Shashiben who offered it, the Madhuban Shashiben, and she brought the message from Baba and everything. No? And then up to 13 day, we were in Daddy's cottage where Daddy used to stay, and lunchtime we used to offer bhog. And in each bhog, Baba gave the message, no? Or signals, for example. No? What is the role was Daddy Janki, how it is, where she, what kind of service she will do now, and also specialities and ability, all sorts of things. No? Baba gave. Also, Baba gave message to his children who were here, how to make use of the time, that present time there, because of restriction and because of men. So it was insisted that we all have time for meditation, bhaktis and things like this. So we all took something and something, no? For example. But in those days, obviously, I decided that I'll do 3 hours a day yoga, for example, no? For 13 days. And this is what was the important aspect, no? Spending your own time at the time of need. And that was important. And Baba did mention that at this time of COVID, even now we see many souls in the world feel so much sorrow. The happiness is not there. They don't know anything about the future, what's going to happen. And this is the time we can help through our thoughts, through our words, through our good wishes, and the vibration and atmosphere. No? And this is something that even now we VK souls are putting together like this to give and sustain other souls in which they can do. No? So through my experience for 12 days being there in that particular atmosphere, and how, and on the 13th day, final day, we offer bhog and Brahma Bhojan and everything, for example, and that message was there also. But the important thing, how in each of my experience being with the daddies, for example, Daddy Kumarka, Chandramani Daddy, and Manmohan Daddy, I happened to be there when they, when both of them left the body. Now, for example, Kumarka Daddy was something different in a way, because when she was not well, we couldn't see her, Daddy Kumarka, no? Because that time she was the head of the organization, for example. No? So what happened was, 1 week before Dadi, 2 weeks before Dadi Kumarka left the body, Dadi Janki phoned me up from Shantiwan, and there was a senior brothers party going on, senior brothers party. And she phoned me to ask me to come to Madhuban and attend this party. So as my usual thing, I never used to say no. And I always said yes. So I was there for Bhatti at that time. And so it took about a week for Bhatti. And then we thought, myself and another brother from Leicester, we thought that we'll go and say hello to Dadi Kumarka, where she was staying, her residence, and we take leave from her. It's funny, it was not allowed. But on that particular day, when we thought about this, they said, come. They said, come. So I saw Dadi Kumarka in the sitting room there, sitting just quietly in there. Soon as we sat next to each other, she gave drishti for 5 minutes to both of us. Drishti, just drishti, nothing else. And the people who were next door, they were sort of wondering, how come Daddy is giving long drishti to these two souls, Daddy Kumarka? And so we both experienced this. We were in front for 5-6 minutes and drishti, that was it. Then I used to think, well, this is the most important fortune from someone. Even like when we used to hear story of Brahma Baba, people used to go in front of Brahma Baba and they used to experience a lot of things. But the main thing was drishti, the vision. And so here I am, I'm thinking, and I'm going back to London, and it was hoping that we would able to see, and that's there. When I reached London, after 4 days, I heard the news that Dadi Kumarka had left the body. There you see, another important aspect in this. And then obviously the decision was, the big decision now, who would be the next head of the organization. And Dadi Janki was there, myself and Jenti Ben and other members of the Spain, we were in London that time. And so, but to attend the funeral of Dadi Kumarka, you have to take the flight next day. Otherwise, it would not possible. So I thought that no, I took drishti from Ladi a week ago, and we never thought about that she would leave the body in this way, for example. So how to be there at the time of Dadi funeral, and how many people came? When Dadi Kumarka left the body, how many people came from all foreign country, all from India, everyone. But at the time of Dadi Janki, no one could come for the funeral, cremation. No one. Not single person could come from India. Can you imagine? Not single person could come from India for funeral for Dadi Janki. And no foreigners could come from any part of the country. Amazing, But then I used to think, I've happened to be there, and I was lucky at that time not to go back to London and just to be there. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but it happened. The fortune, basically, And at the Dadi Kumarka's time, obviously there were thousands and thousands, 10, 12, 15,000 souls at the funeral. So there were also a lot of restriction that time, but the restriction imposed on Dadi Janki was through the government because of COVID, for example. So Dadi did mention one of the things in the book, in the message, that no one could come. Dadi said that was the best thing, because then everyone would come from different part and they would have to spend a lot of money just to come for the funeral. Now, being with Dadi for many years, there are many things Dadi used to have in which how to manage the Baba's activities of the yagya, of the organization for Dadi was very good in that. Her intellect was sharp and he knew how to look after the yagya in this way. No? So something that happened because of the funeral that no one could come, but she paid importance in which aspect, and that was related in the book message, for example. No? Your personal health always important in that way. So seeing through all the both daddies and how they went through of different things, and how even if they come out of that and they still come, but still the vision is very clear to them of giving support to others in the time of need, in the time of need. So I used to take daddy for many things in different way, because Baba's children they were the student, and daddy always put step in their house, as Hemaben mentioned in the beginning. Obviously, your home was more important than other things, and then they always wanted daddy to come and visit the home or put a step and things like this. So each and every step in our own life is important. How we create and what we do and how we serve. And that is the important factor in our Brahman life at present time and also for future. Baba has made very clear for future, but at present time, how I can keep that stability in my level of this thing that I am at the present, moving forward. But the important aspect is getting help from Baba is always there, and getting help from the family is also there. Emma will also relate to her experience being with the mother and the father, and her mother Kusumben went through different things, Vitlubai went through different things, but the support is there. And that's what sustains them to move forward, in our case. There are a lot of other things, obviously, considering with health and many things. One of the things is obviously when I came back from my coma and came out, and I begin to pick up things where I had left it. But the decision was there that if I can manage, I can carry on. But if I can't manage, then I leave, for example. Leave means you take still interest in it, but don't have that much responsibility as that much. So before, if you had 100% responsibility, then now it will be like 40 or 50% responsibility, for example, like this. So I always felt that Baba looks after his children in many different ways. Different ways mean where there is a need, then either Baba will touch other souls to help you. And Brahman family also will come and help you in different way. Even now, yesterday, we have one brother here, Sindhi brother. He's been from the beginning of London service, and he used to help a lot in different way. So we heard that yesterday he left the body, and the funeral will take place a week, and I'm taking Sudeshben to the airport. Sudeshben, she's going to airport Madhuban. Her flight was yesterday at 1 p.m. afternoon. So we left at 9 or 10. We left at 9:30, and Wilson will be there at 10 o'clock. So I left Global House, go to the airport. It would take about 45, 50 minutes. And then we had a phone call while I was driving, we had a phone call from Sister Jayanti in Madhuban. She's already in India. And she's insisting that Sudeshben not to fly out, but stay there and attend the funeral. That would be a great help to the family, in which the soul has served. Now, this is a big decision to make now. We all were in Global House before Sudeshben left. We all were in reception, giving her leave. And I'm in the forecourt, sitting in the car, waiting for her to come out and sit and then leave. So this important decision now, for example, She asked me twice, can I stop the car and we can make a phone call? And I didn't know that why stop the car while going to the airport. I didn't know anything about the background. Huh? And then we had few phone calls. And in that phone call, I heard that something Jenti was mentioning. So in certain motorway, you can't stop the car, no? And so I went further and took the turn left and stopped the car. And that's when we practically spoke with someone, Gentiben, who was insisting strongly that it's good if you can wait until the funeral is finished, then come. No? So these are the important aspect that comes in our life. No? You could be with someone, or you could be in yourself in that position, what decision you have to take, no? For example. And this is it. And sometimes I used to think, no, Baba used to say many times, how to remain ever ready, for example. Now, most of the time, when I ask people, are you ever ready? And what next word that used to come is destruction, no? For example. So Baba mentions you have to be ever ready, no? Because in the beginning, we always used to ask Baba, when will destruction take place? Yeah? So when Baba used to mention word, people used to think, oh, before I have to be ready. But that's before Baba has said, you have to ready before that. It's no use you giving yourself time. When the time comes, I'll be ready. No. So this was like this. No? For me, my experience was that the decision has to be made, and you can only make this decision correctly if you are ever ready. You see? Now, going to the airport, we were there almost quarter of way, and now I have to turn back and come back to the house and take the next part, for example. No one thought of this because the preparation was made, the date was fixed 2 weeks ago. Everything was there, nothing in it. But that's an important factor. In our life, health also plays an important part. If someone has done good things in the yajna, the remembrance is there, his or her soul's fortune is there for future and so on. And that's why the important being ever ready plays that key part at that time, key part. Because Baba has given us the instrumental duties, whatever, but how we express, how we continue to take it is a different thing. And that's why it is very much important looking at yourself at this time. So the proof of intoxication is the happiness, and the faith is intoxication and happiness, that you will see many things on your face and on your activities that take place. For example, there are many other stories in this way, for example, differently connected with different circumstances. I would like to ask if any of you have a question that you would like to ask, and I can answer in that way. Otherwise, I would carry on further. It's not a problem.
So we also have Geeta Ben with us. Geeta Ben, you want to say hello?
They seem to be all content, And within the contentment is the happiness, and within the happiness, internal intoxication, spiritual intoxication, which we call internal intoxication. There is a bigger fortune than who we are or what we are in the world. Baba has said many times in the Molli, you could have million, you could be millionaire, right? But still the happiness is not there. You have everything around you, but still the happiness is not there, and not the future, for example. They would think the future in the existing world, but Baba said, no, that will not happen. future in the existing world. No? It will happen in the future world, for example. No? Baba has made it very clear with his children. No? Everything Baba has made it very, very clear. But Baba always put children first. No? Always have put children first in any way. When Baba's always says in the Molli, no? Sweet children. Baba never say anything else. Sweet children. No? The sweetness from the father, sweetness to his children, sweetness in the fortune making of the children, sweetness in many things, for example. No? And we keep this sweetness with us all the time. No? And this is where the faith, happiness, and intoxication is very much related in all three aspects with you. No? And faith plays an important part in which, for example, Baba talks with us. No? The other thing that plays with us while in the different part of the health is our old world and old sanskaras. No? For example, our old sanskaras, Baba says, how to overcome the old sanskaras. No? We can't forget the old world, but to change the old sanskaras, that's where the effort comes. No? And forgetting the old world could be easy with effort. No? Because we have the new world in front, yeah, and the future in front, so that we can forget. But the sanskaras, life of our effort to change them, that's where the effort comes in. No? So these are the small things, but Baba said you have to go deep into this in order to have an impact on you. No? It's my effort that is, well, then Brahma Baba proved everything in his own effort, everything, no? From beginning to the end. Baba's main effort was to become, Baba mentions, no? The chariot for Shiv Baba. No? In Hindi, it's called Bhagirath. No? In that way. So Baba took the responsibility, Brahma Baba, from the beginning till the end with Shiv Baba, for example. No? And that's why we say Bap and Dada, no? Two together. There was no difference in both souls, for example. No? So looking at yourself in this way, no? That Baba talks about ourselves in how to look at and where to make effort and how to progress in our effort. No? And so one of the thing about faith is to see your old sanskars, how we can eliminate them or how we can erase them or how we can change them. No? To forget the old world, yes, we can do that. No? But the main that is reflects on our face and it reflects on our behavior, reflects on our action, would be the transformation of the old sanskaras. No? And which other way we could, it can clarify it in many things like habits and behavior in a different way. No? But soon as we have this practicality in us, then we are able to see it, no? For example.
So, Balwant Bhai, if anyone have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. And in the meantime, I have one question around. So it always amazes me, all the senior yogis here, Mohan Dada, who is in Anubhuti, and you, and so understanding Gyan is one aspect, right? And following through is one aspect. And especially when things like health crisis, coming back to the topic of health crisis, and things like when body starts giving away, it's not just the senses, but also the memory starts giving away.
Yes, yes.
And even in that state of mind, for example, you are unconscious for almost a day, and then Mohan Dada was unconscious for a short time. And even in that unconscious state, you are still able to recognize Dadi's drishti, respond to Dadi's drishti, wake up to, you are still in connection with Baba, not only Baba, but also Dadis and the family. And what particular practice that you do? Definitely, Dharna is there, Haji is there, But what special practice that you do that helps us to transcend, like physical
Yeah.
routine aspects to build that level of connection?
Hmm. I think my personal experience, your relationship with everyone, for example, na? And we know that with the seniors, how our relations are. Na? So one of the things, whatever daddy used to tell me, na, for example, I never used to question it. Yeah. It could be big thing that I have to do or small thing, but never used to question it, for example. Now, but the other aspect is the how much everything is in drishti, for example, no? The thoughts, the feelings, no? And the souls that you've been with, no? How to bring them, give them, how to bring them out of the sorrow or out of the illness or this sort of thing, no? For example, that I have seen many times in Madhuban, for example, now, because in the beginning when we used to go in Madhuban, we used to meet all the daddies there. No? They used to be there. And everyone used to relate their experience being with Baba or being with Baba, sent them on service and something happened and things like this. No? Very practically. But what I felt with mine that I myself didn't know, for example, no? It's only through drishti the eyes open, no? After 7 days, no? And so the doctor recognized this. No? I recognized, but I still didn't know where I was or who I was. No? Just the eyes open. Then obviously our memories or our sanskaras are still there, no? But not recognizable in the way you were before. Then it depends on how these things are managed in a way internally, and then it opens other doors to your life or your other things that you've been doing. No? For example, sometimes certain section can take time, certain things are there visible very quickly, and things like this. No? For example, so this was my practical example. Unconsciousness could be there, but there are many illnesses which I have seen in BK life. I went, there was a one brother, family member, and he was ill in a certain way. So when we used to go to see him in hospital, he never used to speak to anyone, for example, right? He'd be in like a semi-conscious type stuff, nah? And then her daughter and her wife goes to his ear and tell him that this one has come to see you. Yeah? But he didn't used to open his eyes for everyone. So when I went there, his daughter went to his ear and said, "Look, Balwant has come to see you." He opened his eyes. You see, he opened his eyes, and then just for about 10 seconds, 12 seconds, gave me smile, and the eyes were closed again. You see the difference? No? And this is the moment that we are able to recognize this. No? And in many things, many aspects in Brahman life, going through different phases, things are there. But how to see it and how to help in that way or yourself and how to move forward with that is important. No? So this was one because I mean, seeing people in hospital or other places is so different. No? For example, I remember Hema Ben is there when Kusuman had this accident in India, no? For example, and I was in Madhuban that time. No? So I made myself firm that I will go and see her in Gujarat, where they were. And I went there and I saw her, but she was still happy in that way. No? The reflection internally, people will see and also attach yourself or give that blessing in that way, and it makes a lot of difference in that. No? But our personal feeling stays with us all the time, and how we see it and how we put those in practice is also different.
Beautiful, and especially the point that you shared about Kusumbin, like she has this sense of santushtata, like contentment,
Yes.
like you're saying, that gives a sense of resilience to get through the challenging situation.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
So Om Shanti Balwant.
Ah,
Also, I think there is a deep love for yajna. Means this Baba has set up this, and when the seniors, when the dadis, during that time in early times when we came in Baba's knowledge, we never questioned, we never had the thoughts, but there was
no.
such a deep love for Baba and the yajna. So instantly we was doing, and we claimed lots of blessings about that. And that's why when early time there was no, and you were there, and lots of claim the blessings for that. So when the time of this type of departed soul, they definitely remember the help what we gave them or what that moment they needed. Same thing when Chandruban left, and when see what you, when what's your wish,
Ah,
only just say I want to go home,
right.
and that time she just open her eye, and that thing I want home
Mm.
means to with Baba. And
Yes.
so strong inside, there's a grinding for one Baba, one Yagya, one family.
Yes.
So that really help us with unconditionally, no any expectations, no
Mm.
anything. And when that is there, then naturally the souls have so much love and respect for that. So connections with directly with Baba and the Yagya, that how Baba has created this sacrificial fire, and how much I from my mind, body, wealth, health, everything I surrender. And then Baba is responsible for that. And that's why so many different opportunities, different occasions with all the seniors, we got chance to be with that.
Mm.
So the power of purity and that power of the Baba's knowledge and connections and relationships helps a lot.
Mm.
So,
What Gita Ben shared is excellent, with Chandruban. I said, I will go there, but I couldn't come because of other things that was happening. But I remembered few souls, BK souls, who what Gita Ben mentioned, that internally soul is prepared, for example, to leave the body. That I have said in 2 occasions now. One of them is one of the sister who comes here. Her father was helping us in the yajna, as Gita Ben mentioned, and we went to see him the day before he left the body, now, for example. And that time, everything we spoke, myself and Jenti Ben, he was content and happy. And the one thing he said, I'm ready to go. Now, that you don't hear much from many people. Now, I'm ready to go. That means the soul is content and the soul is there. I mean, obviously, Gita Ben has been with Chandu Ben for many years. We've been also with Chandu Ben, but more constantly. And how it is that obviously those who've been there with her for a long time is there. No? But that internal affection at last minute, Baba says, is important for all of us. We might not see it now, but the practice has to be there, in which Baba said in 1 second, you can go, 2 seconds, you can go. The important aspect is this. So our love and commitment with Baba and the yajna in what Baba has made our life in that way, it's always there for practically, for example. I
that's
think
why this is like internal preparations.
yes,
And with the truth,
yes,
and Baba Srimad really helps us to just, and that's why what Balwant Bhai, it's this is a time, whatever the pure thoughts comes, just put it that in a practical form and detach.
yes.
If we're not detached, then another expectation, another wishes comes, which not allow you what you did. Then there is a question mark, and so you don't enjoy the fruit of that.
No.
And so each one of you, just whatever pure thought comes, you just do and detach. And then you can see how much blessings, how much happiness you can contain.
Mm. I mean, lot of thing. We have so much different thing to play with, but
Yeah.
Papa said, play it the right time in right way. You know, that is important.
Yes.
Because I remember one aspect, and when we went for the Daddy Kumaka's funeral, and one of the message that Baba gave was that Yagya will continue. No? Baba said Yagya will continue, and everyone have this question, no? Oh, who's going to be the next? Who will do what, and all sort of things. Baba made it in just one sentence, all the answers. No? And that Baba said, Baba's Yagya will continue.
Continues. Yeah.
You know?
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In front of our eyes, that
yeah.
left. Yeah.
But that gives how much impact on you. The Yagya will come. That means I'm still continuing with my responsibility. I'm still continuing with my service that I do. A lot of things were still there to continue. It doesn't mean that this stops now, you know. Deep think about this thing.
That's why Baba underlined that whom we are working for whom.
Yes.
It's Baba's Yagya. So when there is a deep, unconditional connections, relationship with Baba, and he's responsible for our anytime's final moments also, you know. So there should not be any fear, and just there is just love and commitment, whatever your task for service, just do unconditionally, and Baba is responsible for that. And that's a perfect example, Balwant Bhai, that how his fortune, you know, every like kinds of moment is giving that, and that's why what he is right now. So we're proud of you, Balwant Bhai.
No, Gita, when I said, I said to myself, you know, for example, I said to myself, Baba has saved me twice, for example. Oh, Baba still wants me to do something.
Yes, yeah.
Or carry on with
he
something.
He gave another chance to do more, and he had to do from you that thing, and that's why you are there. That's why keep our how Dadi Janki constantly was saying, keep your dil and dimag clean and clear. Means your intellect and your heart, just keep clear, so you can have the touching and catching power from Baba, so you can able to apply in your practical life and make your fortune.
Yeah. You know, we used to get a lot of praise from Daddy, for example, and she will praise Gita Ben. She's been into LA, for Daddy would say, have the service, everything there, for example. But I didn't know what I used to do, and Daddy would praise. So how did I found this out? I tell you, you know,
because when there is a need, you were there the first time.
That's the when Bawaram, brother who looks after Sukdam, Bawaram, all of you know, from beginning. So he came to London about 4 or 5 years ago. And when Daddy used to mention my name, when Daddy used to go back to Madhuban, and she used to mention my name and what I used to do and what this, and they didn't know at that time who I was or what I used to do. But then when he came and when he saw me here, what I'm doing, then he clicked. Why Daddy was mentioning your name for do this and all this sort of thing. But this is one aspect in which we are here to do Baba service, and how blessings from each souls, blessings from even Daddy, in every time we go and take drishti and whatever happens. I have seen many things with Daddy for a lot of different things, but her particular role was there to carry out the task as it should be, for example. In a different way, but doesn't matter. But the results are there. That's an important thing. The results were there. So sometimes we don't just go and see for the result, but we see how we are also managing within ourselves our own effort. Service is one aspect, but our own effort within ourselves for spiritual, which Baba mentioned many aspects, and I have to see that very practically within myself now to experience all these sorts of things. So it's nice to see Geeta Ben after a long time.
I'm in San Francisco.
Are you in San Francisco? That's good. No? I think when I first came to San Francisco, I have a lot of stories, but I think Geeta Ben was there at that time, no? With Chandru Ben, I think, in San Francisco. Yes, that time. Every time when you see people, you meet people, we had like few visitors now, and I asked them, what make you come to London? Why did you come to London? He said, Daddy used to tell stories about London to all of us, and we said, no, we must go there. We must go there in a different way, no? So even now people come, they might come for 10 days to London, but they would like to see what is London, for example. And we all know, we have all been seed of London. No? Even we're serving in different place, but our seed has been from both by Daddy or us at that time. No?
I think it's a training ground. London is a training ground for all.
The thing with speciality of London is, I always say Dadi Janki, Janti Ben, Sudesh Ben, like I told them this time when I was in London, and I said the speciality of this place is that they trust people to do the best. So, a lot of scope, a lot of opportunity, and there's a freedom to do service. It's not that, like I always tell, I said with Dadi and Jantiben, I always saw whatever the seva they were doing. When new people came on board, they started doing that seva. And like Jantiben, they never felt insecure that I have nothing to do. They can always create more service. And I think that is the key to progress in service. And that's how people, they feel so blessed, to get that opportunity to serve, and that's what I see everywhere. And this is why, even in the olden days, like I had shared this time, that when Baba said UK, Baba said London, Baba didn't say Scotland, raise your hand, Ireland, raise your hand, no, Leicester, raise your hand. Baba just said London. London meant everybody.
Yes.
And so the beauty of that is the unity there, the oneness there, the unity there. There is no separation. And that's Dadi. The three main instrument has created what they have created there. And that's how my sanskars are.
I met Chandruben first time when she came to London, for example. And at that time we had Tennyson Road only. Didn't have Baba Bhavan. We didn't had any other store, only Tennyson Road. And then she took class. And that time she asked, there were a few Kumaris, and then she asked and stayed there for a week or 8 days before going to USA for it. So everyone used to, Geeta Ben is originally from the Hema is there, but other sisters, they used to be in London first, then Daddy used to send them. It's a different thing. I mean, London has always been there, right from the beginning, in which I remembered Molly Dada, I remember Rajini Ben, Janti Ben's mother and father, and Daddy used to say, you go and spend 2 days with them. And I used to think, oh, what am I going to do in 2 days? But Daddy knew what help they needed, in which way. So this was the thing. It's a service begins with you, for example, or service begins in the family. As we grow up, the service also grows up in that way. So we are very much that key players in this way, and how we become the key players with others for Daddy Janki, as Hema been mentioned, and other things. It's very, very profound way how we see and how we put forward in the things. Obviously, the things have changed in many different ways now, or whole the yagya, but we still have to move forward in the which how Baba wants us to move forward in that way.
So that's beautiful topic you brought in, Balwant, by the yagya. So the spirit of yajna, the spirit of love for Baba and spirit of love for the family, like the
Yeah.
spiritual family, was always there from Baba's time. And then when Dadis are there, it has slightly transformed and now it is transforming further. But the yajna is the same. Would
Yeah.
you like to share a couple of your thoughts on the yajna, how we can keep it alive in our hearts, in the family?
Hmm. I think looking at the yajna in every way, for example, from beginning when you became a Brahmin, no? And how you analyze and how analyzation was there at that time, and what you effort was there at the beginning and now and in the middle in so many different ways, for example. But to be stable or create that stability in your fortune, the directions of the yajna, directions of Baba's Moli, and other direction that needs to be followed has to be inculcated in that way. No? So Baba has said many things. No? Don't create something which doesn't exist. Don't think of too much which doesn't make you any benefit. Don't waste your different way of all different things. No? But for you to have that important role in the yajna, one has to be extra internally to analyze and move forward. Now, for example, now as the situation have changed in many, in the whole world now is different. For example, when we started 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it wasn't anything like this. Now we didn't had so many centers, we didn't had, but Baba said it will continue till we have completed our part, the yajna's role, and when that comes to end means complete, mean, no? Baba has said establishment has to be completed, no? Before destruction take place, for example. Now, obviously, the question of destruction is a big thing, but anything can happen anytime. But then my role for being in establishment, how am I managing this? Am I still making that effort to achieve that, or am I still halfway? Am I still quarter? Or do I fluctuate in different way, in this way? No? This is your own analyzation about this will keep you stable in particular way. No? Obviously, we all have a lot of experience, but what you have to do has to be clear inside and firm in that way. No? I'll just share one example in which, obviously, one of the things I had being with Daddy for so many years that I used to drive Daddy everywhere, no? For example. So when this new brother came in Gyan, he wanted to drive Daddy, no? For example. So we had two things that day, one to go to Leicester and from Leicester to Oxford, no? And Daddy had come from Madhuban. So this brother was arranged for Daddy to take her, and we had two cars, my car and then other brothers' cars. No? So we went to Leicester first and set the program there, finished it, and then we went to Oxford. No? And then so the Oxford, we had the European teachers, they were there, and that had finished. And so we both then were waiting after the program outside in the forecourt, and then the other brother's car was there and my car was on the side also. So Daddy came out of the door, a retreat center, and she said, I want to go in my car, Balwant's car. I didn't expect anything. And when that brother saw, or when he heard, he said, oh, what is this? No? What is this? And I said to Daddy, Daddy, Daddy just come and no, I'm going to go in Balwant's car. So I didn't ask any questions or anything. And then obviously Harsha was with Daddy and all this. And then Daddy started talking and smiling and everything. But what do we question? We don't question in those things. No? The thing came at the right time, right place, not in my mind, but in the mind of person who's acting, no? Who's taking that decision. But these are the things. We have to be stable in which way of the yajna now. You will see many scenes or different things, but I have to move in the way that should be there. Yeah, right. And obviously, there are a lot of things involved in the yajna. I only gave the example of this particular example in which how you can be ready to be and accepting as it comes, for example. So these are the things, So I just feel that yajna is there. Yajna will always be there till the end, and Baba's task is complete. And then we all have to go, and then we all have to go to a better living, Baba mentions, and better way. But Baba said, this is the task of Baba. And Baba will complete this, and I am the one of the hand of the Baba, in which I am part of it, in this way. So it doesn't matter what kind of service, but you are there to fulfill that service, for example. And we have seen many things in front of us, many things in front of us. But this is the thing that what I have to do now to be firm on this.
So Balwant Bhai, there is unfinished business here. You need to come back to.
I will come. I said to myself, I will. I had a lot of invitation. I've been to just 10 days ago. I was in Switzerland and Austria, and we had a good programs there in Geneva and Zurich and other places. Because of obviously other things and that, I've been not able to go out as much. But I think let's see what happens. I want to come next year to America anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you win special invitation?
I will send all of you my details if whatever happens.
It will be very nice to have you here.
Yes, from
Very
beginning
wonderful to hear your stories.
I have a lot of stories. I have lot of stories. I've only mentioned few things now, but I mean, Geeta Ben has also a lot of stories. Being with Chandru Ben also have a lot of stories. Anubhuti was specially for me when Daddy called me and said and told me, you go now, she said, and things like this. Drama makes it a bit easier for you. If you have that faith, then anything around, you just let go. For example, that's what I did. When I came to Anubhuti, I let go of everything I had here. I didn't take anything, bring with me there, anything. It would work, And this is important. I always find Daddy was a very practical example of loving and detachment. Very good example, practical example of this. If you had to let go, Daddy used to say, let go, simple. And attachment, loving, that she will give you love all the time. I have a lot of experience and other souls who've been in the yajna like this and caring and loving, Daddy was very good practically, very practical in that way. So good to see all of you, originals, Baba's children, and hoping to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you, Balwant Bhai. It's
All
2:30 a.m. in London right now. Just imagine. A lot of people are in deep sound sleep.
Now it's 4 o'clock.
That's right, Amrit Vela now.
Yes, Amrit Vela.
Very special thanks for taking time out at this. It's wow. This is the height of Haji, Baba's Seva.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so all the people, remembrance to all the Geeta Ben, LA, Baba's family, and obviously San Francisco, Baba's family, Anubhuti, all my love and respect and regards to all of you. Yeah. Okay, Om Shanti.
So Balwant Bhai, you want to give a 1 minute or commentary or
we can
meditation?
do this good meditation, 1 minute.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.